YouTube, and good morning to all my homestead homies. It's August the 5th, Tuesday morning, close to 80 degrees, about 9 a.m. We're going to talk about another aspect of preparing to be on your homestead. Let's talk about communication. How do you guys communicate? Let's get into that. Alright, good morning YouTube and all homestead homies. I'm Steve, Reed Family Homestead. Today I want to talk about another subject: being prepared to move onto your property. Another thing that you want to be prepared for is how you guys communicate. A lot of these properties are out in the middle of nowhere, so cellular service may be spotty at best, or you may not even have any cellular service, internet connection. Let's talk about some of the things we could do to be able to communicate with each other. Of course, we have our cell phones. Some of them work pretty good, some don't. Most times you have pretty good cell service at best. Some you don't have any at all. Depends on how far out you are. Where our property is, depending on where you are out in the desert, you can get cell service. I think the nearest town is 1 hour away. So we are, I think, 45 minutes from a paved road. Everything else is dirt road, no gravel. Those roads are maintained by the seller of the property, so they maintain those dirt roads. But it's monsoon season down there. Lots of people get stuck, don't have a cell phone, or don't have a way to communicate, and they have to walk back to their property. It might be 10 miles, 12 miles from where you are stuck back to your property. So you want to have a way to communicate. You can I know on some iPhones you can use satellite. So if you have an outage, there is a way that you can use satellite to make a call or text. I'm not sure about Android phones. I'm not sure if they have satellite on those phones, but I know my iPhone does. If I go in the underground parking garage and it loses signal, the little satellite automatically pops up to where I can use satellite. So one other thing that we've done is that we bought walkie-talkies. So I would encourage you to get some with a few miles range. They range from anywhere from 2-mile range to 15-20 miles, depending on where you are. Out there's no buildings or anything, so we get pretty good range on those walkie-talkies. Here in the city, if you try and use walkie-talkie, have to consider infrastructure, all the buildings, interference from cars and other electronics that are around, satellite dishes, antennas. All those things play a role in how far your range is on your communication device. We got those just in case. Like I said, a lot of people out in the desert get stuck in the mud, get stuck in the sand, and so to be able to call somebody for help is essential. Walkie-talkies are fairly inexpensive right now. You can get anywhere from just one walkie-talkie to a set of 2. You can buy 4, you can buy 6, you can buy 8. You can buy some inexpensive walkie-talkies that work well for under $150. I got a set of 4 on Amazon for I think $53. They work excellent. We've used them here actually in the city, and when I go walking, just in case, you know, heat exhaustion or something like that, then we have those walkie-talkies to communicate other than a cell phone. It's a good idea to have a plan for communication. Like I said, you're out. Most of these properties are off grid, so you want to have a way to get in touch with someone if you have an emergency come up. Walkie-talkies are a great alternative to your cell phone. Most of them are rechargeable. They come with a lithium-ion battery, so you're able to charge those overnight. They only take a few hours to fully charge, and then you can use those to take those with you when you are out. If you're out on your property and you get bit by a snake, there's plenty of rattlesnakes out there. So if you get bitten by a snake and you don't want to dial numbers or something like that, you just push a button on your walkie-talkie and call the person who has the other one. There's some that even come with like a base station. So if you have a base station, there's one that can be on all the time at home. So that way you can communicate with anybody that's at home, and they'll be able to hear that and not actually have to have another walkie-talkie with you. They have multiple ones that have multiple channels. Most of them come up from 10 to hundreds of channels that you can use, and you can pretty much be isolated and have that just for your family to communicate with, which is a good thing to have. Like right now, I'm out exercising and I have a walkie-talkie on me, just in case I should need to call for help. I also have my cell phone. I'm still in the city, so I still have cell service, but in case I don't want to use that, then I still have walkie-talkie to communicate with. And that's one of the best things to have, you know. So being prepared to go onto your property, I think, is one of the most important things to do. We're preparing for food sustainability. We've got a communication plan. We have a water plan. We have a power plan. We have a if I get lost plan. You get stuck out there in the desert somewhere and get lost. No street signs on most of them. Our property actually has street signs, but they don't have addresses. So we have a 911 address in case of emergency. If we need to call police, fire, or EMS, we have an address for that. But as far as a physical address to, where I could accept mail or anything like that, there's no mail out there. The mail carriers there in the county don't go off paved road. So onto the dirt roads where we are, most of those are just roads that people made over time and they just turned it into a road. So we don't have a physical address. We use the P.O. box to get our mail. I haven't gotten any mail out there yet because we haven't actually transferred anything there yet, but we do have a P.O. box in place, so when we do, it's already there. Fairly cheap. We pay every 6 months, or you can pay yearly. We do the yearly one just because it's easier. You don't have to remember, and you can put that on auto pay to where you don't have to remember. It's fairly cheap. You may not even miss it from your account unless it pops up and you get an alert, and you'll realize that $100 is gone, but more than likely not. I like auto pay for bills. It takes the guesswork out of when it's due. I always just set up my payments that way. It makes it a lot easier. That's one thing off of your plate that you don't have to worry about. Back to being prepared. Like I said, I'm out here daily exercising just to prepare myself for the heat, for the cold, lose weight. We've cut back on spending, especially for food. Cut back on water usage, cut back on power usage. How many times we jump in the car to go and do something? There's lots of cars at my house. There's 5 cars at my house. So we've cut back on using gasoline, so that we can be prepared when we move out to the homestead. It's a long way to get fuel. My next purchase will be a fuel tank. Now you can buy those at Northern Tool, Harbor Freight. They may even have some at some other box stores. I'm not sure if Home Depot and Lowe's carry those, but I know Harbor Freight and Northern Tool have fuel tanks for sure. You can grab one of those 50-gallon tanks and you can store diesel. You can store gasoline in those. And those are a great thing to have, especially if you're far away from refueling and getting gas. That'd be a good thing to have on your homestead. Water. A lot of people use the tanks, and that's what we plan on doing. We will have 2,000-3,000 gallon tanks, and I have lots of IBC totes for water already. We use pumps. Pumps are fairly inexpensive, and you can set up a water transfer system, and water to use at your home. And those pumps, you can get those pumps At Home Depot they have them, but I think you have to order those. I don't think they have them in store, but Harbor Freight, Tractor Supply, you can get a pump. So when you set up your pump house, or if you have a well, which we won't have a well, it's too expensive. And there in the desert, you might hit water and you might not. So why spend $20,000 on a maybe when you can just haul water? It's fairly inexpensive to haul water. I think it's maybe $100, $200 per 1,000 or 2,000 gallons. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I spoke with a guy there in the area about water. But it's been so long ago. It's been months ago. So, but yeah, just being prepared to move on your homestead is an integral part of being successful. Like I said, I'm out here exercising, losing weight, getting my stamina up. I'm pretty heat tolerant, so you know, if it's 100 degrees and I'm working outside, I do it. I just started wearing hats just to have a little shade and kind of keep me a little bit cooler, but I used to never wear hats. I could work in 100-degree weather all day and not be affected by it. But now, you know, when you get a little older, you have to consider, you know, skin cancer risk, you know, your vision, because this bright sunlight can mess with your vision. Have to consider what kind of medications you take. Some of those medications advise you not to be in direct sunlight. I know some antibiotics, some blood pressure medications advise you to be careful of UV, either artificial or real, directly from the sun. You don't want to be out in the direct sunlight taking those medications. UV light can increase or decrease the effectiveness of the medications that you take. I know, it's weird, huh? But yeah, it happens. So make sure you read your labels on your medications, or Google. Look them up in Google and see if the sunlight affects those medications. You could be taking your blood pressure medication and like, why is my blood pressure not being lower than what it is? Maybe you've been working out in the sun all day. That UV light can decrease the effectiveness of your blood pressure medications. You want to be out here and stay hydrated, even if you're not thirsty like I am. I've been increasing my water intake by a lot. Women need about 100 milliliters of water. Let's say 6 to 8 glasses a day. Men need 10 to 12 glasses of water in a 24-hour period. That's a lot of water, so you need to be drinking water all day while you're out, especially in the heat. You want to stay hydrated. I've had some heat-related deaths in the hospital where I work. You would think, oh, I'm tough, I can tough it out. Let me tell you, you feel okay at first, and then all of a sudden the heat exhaustion kicks in, and it kind of sneaks up on you, just like some other things do. Just like blood pressure, diabetes, those things are pretty silent until they're not, until you get the headaches and the cramps, frequent urination, all those things, the dizziness, fainting. Those things could be indicative of a bigger problem that's going on with your health. So stay healthy, try and eat right, I know it's hard, especially with people that have small children. I don't have small children so anymore, but when we did, it was so easy to stop at the, the Golden Arches and grab something for me, the wife, and the kids. It was that was easy, and so you get into the habit of doing that. That food is not healthy. The oils that they use are the bad oils. It's not the good stuff like avocados have, like canola oil has, olive oil, grapeseed oil. All those are healthy fats that the body can use and absorb. They help to regulate blood sugar, blood pressure, your overall feeling, your overall health. So if at all possible, try and stay away from that stuff, eating out so much. We've done it. We were able to do it. We've cut way back on eating out. I don't even know if we've ate out this month. I can't remember us, but we've been cooking at home. So that's what we've been doing. It's a lot cheaper, a lot better for you. Salt substitutes, be careful of that. Those salt substitutes interact with a lot of medications. They say low sodium diet. You can be low sodium, but you need sodium. You have pumps in your body that use sodium to work. If those sodium ion pumps are not working, you can get yourself in trouble. So you want to have a balanced chemistry in your body. You need sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium. You need all those nutrients in your body. And be careful about taking over-the-counter vitamins. Some take it for the iron content, but they have other nutrients in there that interact with other medications. So if you're gonna take those, just check with your doctor. Use a cross-reference to check interactions with other medications. They're free on most apps, platforms. You can grab one and cross-reference your med. Make sure that you can take your blood pressure medication with Tylenol. Have high blood pressure, I would shy away from NSAIDs like naproxen, Aleve, ibuprofen. All those things can raise your blood pressure. So Tylenol is pretty safe for just about every medication. You can have up to 4 grams, which is 4,000 milligrams, and that's about, I think, 8 tabs or so. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, so you can have up to about 8 of those, because if you're using 500 milligrams, if you're using 1,000 milligram Tylenol, which is probably the extra strength, which is probably 1,000 milligrams, you can have 4 of those within a 24-hour period. But try and stay healthy. Try and get a plan, get things in order, so when you do go out to your property, you are prepared and you have a plan for everything. Write it down. Don't hurt just to jot it down. I come up with ideas and I write it down immediately, right then, because I know me. And like most homesteaders, we have a lot of projects going all at once. You start one, then you come up with another idea, you start another project, and then you have, 5 or 6 unfinished projects, or projects, in the making. So jot those ideas down. Jot them down. I came up with a idea for watering my raised garden beds. And so I ran to the table. I keep my pen and paper right there, and I go ahead and just jot that down, write it down, so you'll have it, and you'll have a plan for that. It's a good thing to write things down, so you won't forget. So you won't come back later and say, "Oh, what was I thinking about? I had an idea for this, or for that, or for water, or for power." Go ahead and jot it down. If you can, just draw a little sketch of what it is you thought about, and you know, and how it could work. And so I did that. I came up with the idea, just gave it a short, quick name, and then I drew a sketch of what I wanted, and you know, that'll help me in the long run. And that way you can even see what the costs are going to be. That way, if you plan it, you won't be buying unnecessary parts and supplies. You can buy just what you need. Maybe buy one or two or something, you know, especially if you have to drive hours to a big box store to get it. You can buy extra, but kind of know what you're going for. You can research that. You can go on their app, you can Google, look up the things you need, see what it's called, you know, put it in your notes on your phone, dictate it into your phone or some kind of recording device. Even record yourself like I'm doing right now with this GoPro. Just record your idea, you know, stuff that you need, so that way you can keep a handle on expenses. Everybody wants to try and do homesteading and be as self-sufficient as possible and as debt-free as possible. So jotting down what you need is a good way to do that, to keep from spending money on extra supplies that you may or may not need. You know, it's always good to have one or two things just in case something breaks. Then you can have that supply there. You don't have to go and get it, especially in case of emergency, something to do with water or power, something like that. Look up and see which things are most prone to breaking and have that available on your homestead. Extra PEX tubing, extra clamps that you need for the tubing, for your water, lots of fuses, breakers, that kind of thing. You don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere and a fuse goes and then you don't have any, and that's the only thing. Of course, you can wire it straight up and bypass the fuse, but then that puts your appliance or whatever you're using, it puts it at risk of burning. Sorry about that, guys. GoPro ran hot. So, but like I said, yeah, just be prepared to move onto your homestead, and we will be out. Until the next video, peace. Reed Family Homestead, and I'm Steve, and we out. Y'all have a wonderful week.